Well, the graphic doesn't mean anything.
Well, my understanding, this is similar to what they've done with the away kit, where it's all kind of inspired by the marble effect of Italy.
I'm not buying
but I think we're probably going to have to disagree here.
Hi everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Kit Breakdown. Today we have got the new Italy home authentic and replica jerseys designed by Adidas. So for the first time in 20 years, Craig, Italy won't be wearing a Puma kit, which, on a personal note, having designed the Puma kit that won the World Cup in 2006.
Get away.
Yeah, disappointing to see them leave the brand, but on an entirely selfish note, I've designed the only Italy kit that won the World Cup for Puma, so, you know, not all bad. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what Adidas have put together. We all got quite excited and saw the pictures that were leaked before the official launch. We've managed to get our hands on the home kits.
Yep.
So we're going to have a look at them. And Craig, you can start us off. You've got the fancy, authentic one that those impeccably groomed players will be wearing.
Yeah, so what I would say is I actually really like it. I've loved the World Cup kits that we've seen, and they've not disappointed with the Italian kit. I love the crest, how they've done it. They've simplified it a little bit. Personally, I really like it. I love the way that they've brought in some of the stitching detail into it, so it looks like it's been embroidered. I think they've done a terrific job of that. We waxed lyrical about the three stripes in the World Cup uniforms, and again, just such a nice little detail on the inside, which is kind of reflected just on the walls of the three stripes there. The way that the kit's actually been cut and how the designers have done it has been really good. I mean, we've seen it obviously in the World Cup kits, but they haven't disappointed with the Italian kit. Similar sort of feeling. I love the flag detail going down the sides, which we've seen in the German kit. So again, I think they've got that right. Overall, I think that is a cracking looking kit. There's two things I would probably pull it up on. If you think of the away kit, which we can show you here, the graphic on the away kit is absolutely superb, and it looks stunning. It's exactly the same kit, it's the same technology, but obviously the grapic's slightly different. But I think the home kit, the graphic hasn't quite worked for me.
Well, for
it's
me,
a little bit distracting.
Well, the graphic doesn't mean anything, and that's the thing for me. At first glance, it's just a pattern. There's no deeper, you know, something that makes it feel quintessentially Italian.
Well, my understanding, this is similar to what they've done with the away kit, where it's all kind of inspired by the marble effect of Italy.
I'm not buying that.
I just don't think it's worked as well.
Because the away kit, the graphic isn't that different than what was done for Arsenal's away kit a couple of seasons ago. And then also that, albeit it wasn't an Adidas team, that's pretty much the same graphic as we saw on the Netherlands at the World Cup. And yeah, Holland isn't particularly well known for its marble.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to have to disagree here, because I think the Adidas video that launched with this, and they showed the making of how they actually did the graphic. They did do, to be fair, a lot of research around, you know, what makes Italians Italian, or, you know, what their cultures and so on and so forth. And I know myself, my father used to be a marble merchant, and he used to get all his Carrera from Italy, so it is such a big thing for them. So I think seeing that integrated into the kit designs, I think it works, certainly on the away kit. Home kit, maybe not so. I get the fact that it looks similar to the Netherlands kit, but however, I do know that this has come from a source of different inspiration, but just the execution has ended up looking similar. The other thing I'm not massively keen on, I don't actually mind the gold. I don't mind the gold piping, but I do dislike the depth of it. If they were able to have just made that ever so slightly, so if it was more like that, I think it could have looked really, really smart, and it would have reflected much more what we're seeing in the logo. So if it was just that bit smaller around the neckline and the cuff, I think, for me personally, I think that's an absolutely cracking kit. I love it.
It's all right. It's all right, and I think I hear you on the gold, and that is something that, you know, feels Italian and you would associate with it. I think if I was to cover that up, I could quite happily say, here's the new Leicester City kit for next season. It doesn't feel You know, and I know that as big as the Italian national team are, they've got a different, perhaps, rank in the pecking order at Adidas compared to at Puma. At Puma, it was the pinnacle national team, but it doesn't really. There's nothing.
But playing devil's advocate, if I did that with a lot of Italian kits, you could say that it's a Leicester kit.
Yeah, I guess
Honestly
so. Perhaps
speaking.
the three stripes makes the difference on it, but it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't feel quintessentially Italian. It's, you know, if I think of what we saw on Belgium, if what we saw on Germany, and you know, there were things that we talked a lot about the graphics and the approach being, well, it's an Adidas kit, but that feels really Belgian, that feels like German design, and the Japanese one as well, and you can see that up here if you click the link, and there just isn't that. I think, so your dad worked with marble through all his career. If you were to show him that and say, what does that remind you of? I'd get it with the away kit. With that, I can't imagine he'd look at that and say, oh, it takes me back to working with marble. That.
No, quite possibly not, but I think with the direction that they've taken, obviously they're not going to be able to get away with going too crazy, because we know as a federation it's not that easy to work with. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think as a home kit, I think personally they've done it really well. I think the away kit is absolutely superb. I love it, and honestly speaking, I think Adidas have done a really good job of it. I like the new crest.
How does that stack up against the last Puma Italy kit, the Ultra Weave one?
Well, I think from a technology perspective,
which we reviewed there.
From a technology perspective, with the Ultra Weave, we were absolutely blown away by it.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. From a technology perspective, I definitely think the Ultra Weave is still a better shirt than this.
Yeah.
But what Adidas have done with the Italian offer as a whole, you know, the training kits, the away kit, I think it's great. I'd be really pleased. So what do you think about the replica anyway?
It's just not nice.
Right.
I think the fabric feels inferior to the fabric that was on the other Adidas national team kits. I think as I was looking at it off camera before, and I tend to try and keep my fingernails and the ends of my fingers somewhat well manicured when we're doing videos, but it really catches on the inside of that shirt. It's really snaggy to the inside, and it feels like the sort of material I would have expected on a football shirt like 30 years ago, maybe 25 years ago. So I'm not a big fan of that. I know that you like the crest. It's all right. It just doesn't feel, again, it doesn't feel special. And obviously we don't know how much Adidas have had to do with that. I certainly know during my time at Puma, it was Puma's brand agency that had worked on the crest that went to the 2006 World Cup. I didn't particularly like that either. It just feels too basic.
Could I have a look at that?
I would have seen
have a look at that.
A very similar crest to that on, I don't know, Asda pyjamas or Sports Direct products ahead of a big tournament. So the execution of it here is nice with the detail in it, and they've made it feel a bit like it's embroidered. But just as a graphic, it just feels too ordinary, I think. And I don't know whether, because of working with the Federation, because of all those trips to Rome to the FIGC, I hold Italy to a slightly different standard maybe, but it just doesn't, that in particular, this is a great shirt. I loved it on all the other national teams. This replica in particular just doesn't do anything for me. It's just bang ordinary.
Yeah, I have noticed as that line, we're getting a lot of puckering down the side of that, which we're not seeing too much on the authentic, where, you know, if I pull that straight, that's how it should be looking. Whereas if I let it go back, there's a lot of puckering. So imagine washing that over quite a period of time. That's going to look
it'd be interesting to get some comments in 6 months' time and see what's happened to your Italy shirt if you've washed it quite a few times.
Yeah, but I hear you. I think in general, as an overall comment, I would say that a lot of the kits from promo into replica are just not
the drop
cutting them.
Massive.
The drop off is massive. So if I was again going to buy a shirt for Italy first of all, I would definitely buy the away kit versus the home kit.
Yeah.
I do love the home kit, so don't get me wrong there, but I would definitely buy the authentic versus the replica.
Yeah, totally.
We're seeing too much of a drop down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is one that's kind of divided with a little bit, if I'm
Yeah,
honest,
it has.
mate, 'cause
I
quite like it.
think for me, with my association with the Italian national team, and also the hype and excitement of Italy are switching to Adidas, it's going to be a big deal, and it doesn't feel like it's arrived with a fanfare. It feels like it's just kind of flopped out. Is the only way I can describe it.
Well, there you go, kids.
So, do you agree with me, or do you agree with Craig, or do you sit somewhere in between the two of us? There's not much room, but you are welcome. So, we would love to know. Leave us a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to hear more conversation from 2 World Cup winning kit designers, exclusive access to videos, and direct conversations with us on a monthly basis, imagine that. Just click the link below and you can join our Patreon channel.
Yeah, excellent. Brilliant. Thanks,
See you
guys.
next time.
See you next time. See you later. Cool. Yep. Yeah, that's what I pulled out. I pulled that out on camera.
You're always going to get the odd one, and